The benefits of the modern SOC. I'm very happy to invite our next speaker, which is Mr. Fabrice, Wynants, Global Director Cybersecurity at AIM Solutions from Cegeka. Pleased to meet you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. Everybody can hear me. I'll need to do it in English. I hope you apologize me for that. Thanks for having me here. We will be talking in the next 20 minutes about the benefits of a modern SOC. And I think we will see a trend today because myself, I will also speak about cyber resilience. Mr. Kimpan told about that, previous speaker as well. And also that's where you really need to see the modern SOC of today, Modern Security Operations Center. Traditional security operations centers very often are focused on the pure technology side. And that's where we heavily link it to cybersecurity only. As the previous speakers already pointed out, our business leaders, they think about the resilience of the business. And that's often, I heard the question about, is there a gap between cybersecurity and the business? I think that's where we will be going to, right? We need to talk about, to our business leaders, not about cybersecurity because they will see that as an IT thing, but discuss about cyber resilience. What do we need to do in order to make our business resilient to cyber attacks? And in that context, I will talk today as well about the modern SOC. First of all, if we talk about cyber resilience, there is different points of view, but from in my opinion, there are three key things, three key aspects to look at. First of all, cyber resilience drives actually a convergence of IT operations and security operations. What that means is that for a long time, cybersecurity was seen more as an add-on to your IT environment. What regulatory, and the previous speakers spoke already about, the EU Cyber Act and the regulations that come out of it, like NIS2 for critical industry, like DORA for financial services, regulatory will drive actually the convergence of security and IT. And what I mean with that is that within all those regulations, you need to think about what's the impact of my IT operations and the risks I run in my IT operations for the business. And cyber is becoming an integral part of that. Cyber attacks actually impact your IT operations, and your IT operations are there to support your business. Second important aspect is that, and I think it's hard to read, but you probably get the slides afterwards, but foundational measures are key. Very often I see in many organizations that the conversation is a conversation about high-tech technologies, high-tech products, and so on and so forth, but basic measures or basic security hygiene is not yet in order. And that's the second thing which is important to resilience, like the previous speaker spoke about recovery readiness. Well, you probably can't read it, but the beehive at the bottom will refer to you being able to recover, right? And the next thing is that cyber resilience is not a product. You cannot buy it off the shelf as one product. It's actually a program. And you saw the NIST cycle as well on one of the slides of Dell. This is as well a version of the NIST cycle, but I like to take detection and response together because basically it says detect, and of course if you detect an incident, you need to respond. But this is where the modern SOC comes into play. It's that detection and response will go together. And I'll go a bit into detail on that in the next slides. Good, but what's the situation today? If we talk about detection, response, and recovery, and I'll show you a few statistics, a few numbers that give you a view on the reality. First of all, by the way, interesting report to read for all of you if you don't know it yet, IBM Cost of Data Breach Report. It says that the average time between detection and containment of a data breach is, on average, 277 days. If you look at detection only, it goes back to 200 days, which means that in many organizations and environments, an incident, an initial penetration in your network, a compromise, exists 200 days before it's being detected. Secondly, in terms of response, more or less 1/4 of organizations, it's another statistic, says it has no resources available to respond to an incident. Third one, recovery, linked to the previous speaker as well. 3 weeks. 3 weeks is the average time to recover from a cyber incident. That's really where I would say the real impact is on your business. In case prevention fails, you need to detect faster. In case you detect, you need to respond in a fast and efficient way. If that doesn't work, you'll have a breach, and you need to make sure you can recover as soon as possible, because that's where the real business impact is. How was this very often resolved in many organizations? By having a cyber insurance. Our business leaders very often said, okay, we will insure against cyber risks and incidents. This world has changed as well since about a year and a half. There is so many incidents, so many ransomwares that actually the policy fees are going up and the coverage of risk is reducing. So what are the challenges in this and why is this happening? Because first of all, many organizations still look at the traditional SOC, but as I told you, right, the IT environments that we are running are very often very fragmented. Throughout the years as well, a lot of different security technologies, a lot of different security products which all work in their own context and generate a lot of data and a lot of telemetry. What that means is more telemetry, more alerts for SOC analysts in a traditional security operations center, well, actually in every operation center, more detection methods, more products that they need to take care of, but also the threat landscape is changing rapidly with more attacks and more attack vectors. So what it really creates in many organizations that either run their own SOC or in traditional SOC services is that, first of all, there is not enough experts to keep up with the increasing load of alerts. Secondly, it's not enough awareness about new attacks, new attack patterns, and the threat intelligence. And last but not least, visibility, it's key today. It's very important to have an end-to-end view on your security state, to have an end-to-end view on where you see anomalies in the network, on your workstations, etc. And not individual product dashboards, but an overall end-to-end dashboard. So that, of course, brings us to the modern SOC. And like every operations environment, it's based on the triad of people, technology, and processes. And where there is the difference with traditional SOC environments is that in the modern SOC, it's not just about technology. If you talk about technology, a modern SOC bases their detection capability on more advanced capabilities, which means detection capabilities which are closer, I would say, to the sources. For example, endpoint detection and response, it's a good example. It's tooling which runs on the endpoint, on the workstation, on the servers, can detect much faster than traditional log-based SIEM solutions because basically they combine intelligence, detection, analytics directly with the systems. The same goes for network, etc. So there's a lot of advanced detection capabilities available. Secondly, and that's really one of the core parts in the modern SOC, it's automation. In order to keep up, first of all, to keep up with a high load of alerts and telemetry, it's very important that workflows, incident response workflows for SOC analysts are automated. That's the only way forward to keep up with the high pace of incidents. To also automate a bit of the easier and boring work, I would say. Yeah? Secondly, automation will create some kind of a normalization layer so that SOC analysts don't really need to worry too much about the products and technologies, but can really work on incidents. And every incident will look the same and is treated in the same way. And next, you have, of course, a people part. Today, SOCs should be 24/7. You know, cyber criminals don't sleep. But the big difference as well is typically your business is connected 24/7. And analysts like this can start focusing more on the advanced activities like, for example, threat hunting deep into your environment. And all of this should actually be linked to one end-to-end view, one dashboard, which gives you total end-to-end observability on your security state. Good. This is an example scenario, an easy one. On the right, on the left side for you, no, left side for you, right side for me, you see a traditional manual analysis, manual steps to kind of respond to a phishing email. I'm not going through every individual step. On the right side, you see, and it's not very clear, I think, but the dark blue boxes are just 3 steps left over for a manual investigation, and all other steps are automated. And that's how, you know, in a modern SOC, you can really gain a lot of time, right? This is how we can cope with a high load of alerts. All the light green, light blue boxes are automated in workflow. Response is automated, for example, in this case, to an Office 365 environment where the phishing email is quarantined, but also similar phishing emails will be guaranteed that potentially other employees have received. Good. I think it's no surprise to you that we offer a modern SOC environment. So I'll, in the next 2-3 slides, give you kind of a view on how we approach modern SOC within Cegeka. And the reason why we are here as well on this conference is because this is a service that we also have available in Romania. So we're happy to announce that to this audience as well. And actually we talk about the SOC, but internally and within the market, we talk a lot about what we call CSOC, Cybersecurity Operations and Response Center. So we like and we believe that you need to put R² in the SOC, which means you need to add response activities as well as recovery activities into the SOC operations. You cannot stop at detection and then escalate to the organization and our customer. We want to take care of the full cycle and help you to detect, respond, but also if there is really an issue to recover. Secondly, our SOC is completely based on automation, but we still combine it with human response because certain aspects like, you know, certain indicators of compromise that are deep into your environment, that's really where human threat hunting comes into place. Next, recovery, linked as well to the previous speaker. Recovery, your SOC should be linked to your recovery readiness plan. You need to be ready for recovery. You need to be ready for response as well. And then, of course, as I said, the security observability dashboard, it's a key component. So how does this look like just in the last few minutes? First of all, we offer this service from a twin SOC, as we call it. So we have dual operations. We have one SOC based over here in Bucharest, Security Operations Center, and we have a Security Operations Center based out of Belgium with all required certifications. So how does this look like? First of all, there is, of course, your IT environment. It could be hybrid cloud, public cloud. It could be workplaces, your network, your applications, etc. a security operations center and security should cover actually your full IT stack. That creates telemetry, and it's linked to technologies that ensure that incidents are detected in time and fast enough. There's different brands here, other brands are possible. The key thing is, at the heart of the SOC, it's an automation layer. An automation layer which kind of normalize every incident that comes from the technology stack and translates that towards the people, the security analysts that actually handle the incidents, do threat hunting in your environment, make sure that all new indicators of compromise, all new threats are discovered in your environment. On the left side, this is how we work with organizations. First of all, for those who have a technical team, you can still get access to the technical stack. Secondly, on the process layer, the dashboard oversees all of the incidents end-to-end, so independent from technology. And thirdly, and that's a key component as well in the modern SOC, it's not just about reporting on incidents and trends. It's not just about showing you the level of incidents and the criticality. It's also about giving advice, lessons learned, so you can take it to a next level and make sure that from every incident you have learnings so that you can improve your cybersecurity state. To finalize, I just give you a quick view on how such a dashboard looks like. This is a few screenshots from our observability dashboard. Gives you a view on the number of incidents, the criticality, when they happened. But this, in my opinion, is one of the most interesting views. So from one side to the other side, you see how many incidents, and that make it into the full chain of analysis towards the right side, which is the confirmed incidents. So that pretty much concludes it with different views. And I think I will get some questions and then hand it over.
Thank you very much, Fabrice. So basically implementing a security operations center, it's, how can I say, very important for any company. So let's clarify. To build a SOC, it means that we have to plug in a lot of sensors into my organization at the network layer, servers, computers, and everything almost there. Those sensors are going to send signals to, I guess, your SIEM or whatever tools you have, which is in a cloud probably. And then we have to start to analyze. And probably a bunch of false positives starts to emerge. And probably that layer in red, when you said automation, it's the key component when you set up actually a security operations. Is that correct? But that means you and me have to work together to identify, to make the automation. Is that correct?
Well, the automation, it's part of the SOC operations. So first thing is that, and you're right, so you first need the sensors. But the big misunderstanding is that you need from day one to cover the full end-to-end. That's where this differs from the traditional SIEM approach, where you need the loggings from all your devices, where here you can start in a phased approach. You can start small, which is also what we advise for budgetary reasons, for process reasons, and so on. And the typical way is to start with endpoints, right? So start with the endpoints and the workstations and servers and monitor those. And that telemetry, those alerts go directly into the automation layer. So without a typically expensive SIEM solution in between. So it immediately goes into the workflows, and we maintain the workflows. Of course, we interact with you in order to have the process interlocks, right? But developing the automation layer, that's completely part of this service.
Would you recommend, for instance, to have the security operations center should be completely outsourced, or it's better to have like a hybrid? My team to cooperate with your team.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think, except for those who really have high budgets, right? I think the in-source SOC, it's disappearing more and more. Then in order to have the SOC operations, that's typically something that you do with a provider, because investing in this automation technology It's pretty large investments, but maintaining it is even more. It's a bit like your car, right? You buy the car, many people can do that, but then you need to maintain it and you need to put fuel in it, right? Or more electricity in the future, I guess, right? That's the same here. You buy it, you maintain it. So where it becomes hybrid, it's the handover of the incidents. You have an incident, you detect, you respond, and that's where this layer of advisory comes into play to collaborate closely in close cooperation. That's also our tagline that we put here, right? Build cyber resilience in close cooperation, because we need to understand your environment as well. So services are provided by us, but in close cooperation, which makes it a bit of a hybrid as well.
It's like a marriage. We become really close. All right. So I couldn't notice that, 277 days to discover a breach. 22% of the companies doesn't have capabilities to respond, and 3 weeks to recover. These are very important. I mean, the world is not pretty, easy, let me say like that, from a cybersecurity perspective. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's not easy. And we can all say, okay, so that means, many conclusions often is, it means we need to detect faster. That's true, but it also means that from the moment an incident, you detect and it becomes a breach, then you really need to react very fast, respond fast, and recover fast. Yeah?
Thank you very much, Fabrice.
Thank you.
Wynants, Global Director of Cybersecurity from Cegeka. Okay. Now, we're moving fast. Again, we're a little bit late.